Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sikich Live. I believe this is number 7. Yes, we're really excited to be here with you today. My name is Mike Peter, and I'm coming to you here from sunny Chicago right now. As always, make sure to like and subscribe on any of the channels that we're coming to you from. That could be YouTube, that could be Facebook, that could be LinkedIn. We want to make sure that while we're here every Thursday at 2:30 Central Time, that you get signed up for those notifications and are alerted when we do. So Sikich has a repertoire of digital transformation products. And while we've spoken about Salesforce, our security services, and different Microsoft Dynamics products, one product that we haven't focused on these Sikich Lives that Sikich services here is our Oracle NetSuite product line. So really excited to be here with Billy Tamulinas. He's going to be speaking today about the perfect technology fit for your business. Billy, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure, yep. So Billy Tamulinas, I'm a managing consultant on our NetSuite practice. I have about 10 years of ERP experience. I spent the first 5 actually working with one of the Microsoft products that Michael mentioned, and then I spent the last 5 implementing NetSuite.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today and answering all of our questions. Let's get into it, and I want to start all the way at the beginning. For all of you watching at home that have never heard of an ERP, or maybe they don't know what this thing called NetSuite is, Billy, I just want to ask, what is it, and how does it fit into organizations big and small?
So yeah, I mean, NetSuite it's a lot more than just an ERP system, right? So you'll see it advertised really as a single platform to operate and run your business, right? So you get the typical core ERP functionalities that you see across multiple systems, right? You're going to have chart of accounts, segments or dimensions, and the ability to produce, financial reports, both locally and globally if you're operating a, multi-subsidiary organization. And then on top of that, you get your order management on the selling side, and the ability to place and produce purchase orders, and then the typical AR, AP functions that come with, again, with an ERP system. So then, in addition to that, you're going to get some CRM capabilities, right? So before an order is placed, you have the ability to nurture a lead, turn them into a prospect, track opportunities, quotes, and ultimately convert them into a customer. All within NetSuite, right? So no need for an additional CRM system with an integration if you're using the full package of NetSuite. Okay. In addition to that, depending on different industries and ultimately what you're buying and selling, you'll see functionality like some PSA type functionality, right? It's like time and expense reports, ability to manage projects within NetSuite. So like a consulting firm like a Sikich could run on NetSuite. Manage the projects and bill time back to customers, right? And then transitioning off that, if you sell products, you have the ability to have or leverage, Suite Commerce, which is NetSuite's e-commerce platform. If you're in retail, there's a point of sale application, and then there's various different functionality available in mobile applications, right? So you're going to get Teeny on your mobile. Again, if you're selling product, there's WMS capabilities, to scan barcodes as products come in and leave your warehouse. And then there's even some advanced manufacturing that's available in mobile applications.
Absolutely.
So it's yeah.
A breadth of modules and features that any organization can fit into, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure I missed some, but ultimately, in terms of fit, it's working with NetSuite professionals, getting an idea of in addition to those core ERP functionalities, what modules do you need for your industry, and how can you best ultimately best leverage the suite.
Right, absolutely. So, in speaking about the best fit, one area that is usually a best fit for organizations is when that ERP system or that piece of digital transformation, that technology fits in vertical-wise into their industry. So what does NetSuite do that can help implement that ERP system into that best fit scenario, into those industries?
Yeah, so that's where if you look online and you look at what NetSuite's approach is, they offer what's called Suite Success. Okay?
Right.
So with Suite Success, that's ultimately like NetSuite's pathway. They want to get clients live on NetSuite and using the system and realizing those gains within 100 days, right? So they have, I think I lost track of the number of different offerings, but it might be around 11 or 12 different offerings. They're really, a lot of them are either industry based, so like high levels, so like wholesale distribution, think of it as an industry, or they even get as granular and getting into the vertical space where they have solutions for agencies or media based companies with that. So NetSuite's take there is, again, 0 to 100 days, get you live, get you realizing the benefits of using NetSuite, and then from there they have a pathway for you to grow on their platform. Essentially, it's 5 steps to ultimately getting the most automated system possible for your industry.
Absolutely. Sounds like a great starting point for a Suite Success package is a great starting point for companies and organizations that, kind of don't know where to start. They have all of these needs and business challenges that they're trying to fix. And Suite Success is a great way to start off and get things going for that digital transformation for that organization, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we sort of give like the Sikich take on it, I break Suite Success almost into 2 different pieces, right? There's the product offering. So you're not just buying an ERP. If you buy the Suite Success for distribution, it's tailored towards a company that's buying and selling products. It has all the modules you need listed out, so it makes the buying process easier, and it comes pre-configured and just loaded with functionality, loaded with reports. Again, so you're not starting with a blank slate. So it's it's a great product that's more specific than if you were to install and use the ERP from scratch, from a blank slate. And then the second piece is then ultimately the implementation methodology. So if you go with in one interesting thing about NetSuite is NetSuite Direct or NetSuite themselves implements the product, and so do partners. And not all systems are like that. Like Microsoft, for example, relies heavily on the partner network. But so if you go with NetSuite Direct and Suite Success, they're taking you down a pretty tailored implementation approach, which is let's align you to the system and just follow the standard path to getting you live in 100 days. It's not very flexible, but it's a good starting point for early stage organizations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even in the time of COVID right now, when organizations are being challenged in so many different ways, Suite Success is a package that has the ability to help accelerate that growth, even during a pandemic or, this type of crisis or even a financial crisis. So I think great packages that NetSuite has put together. But I do know that Sikich has their own specific Suite Success package. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep. So we've branded it Sikich Success for Life Sciences. And when we say life sciences, we're really targeting the pre-revenue biotechs, right? So early stage organizations, they've just got a decent amount of funding, and they're working towards developing a drug or a therapy, to maybe help cure or aid in solving a disease that might be out there, right? So with that offering, it's all about getting you up and running very quickly on NetSuite. And then growing with you as your business changes, right? So you have that initial, insertion of cash. You begin the company, you begin your R&D type work, and then as you're having success, companies start to think about going public to continue to raise funding for their candidates. So with that offering, we lay out different roles, or ultimately drive you towards having the proper segregation of duties and reporting that can back up ultimately going public and being SOX compliant. And then on top of that, with that offering, we're looking to take you all the way to commercialization, right? So you're public, maybe your drugs are beginning to go through clinical trials, whether it's phase 1, 2, or 3. We have functionality there to help you support and track that cost at a very detailed level. So whether you're tracking it at a program or, again, candidate level, or ultimately a project or what we call a vendor study level, you can get very granular and get very specific in how you track that costing.
Absolutely, yeah. It sounds like a great solution for any of our biotech and life science companies.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about accelerators. I've been hearing a little bit about what accelerators are, and I know it's not a full Suite Success package. And so I was curious, what exactly are those, and how does it help enhance the fit into organizations as well as speed up that fit?
Yeah. So here, like on our Sikich implementation team, when we use the term accelerator, we're looking to bring system best practices to all across different industries, right? So again, it's going off that theme of not starting from scratch. Say you have a requirement for a purchase order workflow, or ultimately like a purchase order approval process. We can help accelerate that process by giving here's a workflow with a best practice workflow. It has an employee-based hierarchy approval structure that most likely meets your needs, or 80% of your needs. So we have it. It's well tested. It works. We can start there, and then we can tailor it to your business, right? So if you want someone in supply chain to ultimately get involved in the review at the beginning or the end, we can easily make that tweak and plug them in, but ultimately get the process implemented faster.
Absolutely. So where do we go from here? What's kind of our first step, and how do we make sure that this will be a perfect fit?
Yeah. So with that, I think I'll get into, essentially what's our implementation methodology at Sikich.
Right.
So, of course, you're going to engage with a sales rep on our team. But, right off the bat, we're not trying to sell you NetSuite and the entire implementation all as one. We break the sales process and the implementation process into two. So we start with what we call a BPA, or a solution alignment, where ultimately we're designing your system, right? So it's a small statement of work to engage with us. We're not having you buy NetSuite yet, which I think is key. But ultimately, we're designing it as if you were going to buy NetSuite. And at the very end, you have a design document. You've been through concept classes, so you've seen how NetSuite works. You're going to feel confident that it's a fit for your organization. And ultimately, you now understand. Now that we've designed your system, you've had consultants validate and recommend what exactly you should buy, and then ultimately how much it is going to take to implement the system, right? So you go through that process, and then you buy NetSuite, and then you essentially buy the implementation, and you just jump right into it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that sounds like a great approach, because you're not buying something, and frankly, quite expensive, that you're just blindly purchasing. Rather, you're going through the steps and the processes to make sure that this is going to be a good fit for your organization.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Billy, that's all the time that I had for today here. I'm glad you were here to be able to speak to us a little bit about what NetSuite is, uh, and a little bit about verticalization, the Suite Success Program, the accelerators, and then where do you start? Of course, free to come to Sikich to start your journey. There's lots of partners out there, but we'd be glad to have you. And thanks so much, Billy, for being with us here today.
Thanks, Michael.
Want to thank everybody for being on our live stream today. Like I said before, make sure to like and subscribe so that you're getting all of our notifications when we come live each Thursday at 2:30. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Billy.
Thanks.